Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for Sohr Khai. This is one of two new instances made available by patch 3.3 Revenge of the Horde. This instance may seem a bit trialing at first, but my name is Miztech and I'll be your dungeon guide. The first set of trash is fairly straightforward. These gardeners will need a moment to wake up before they attack. These enchanted fans will drop puddles when they die that place a haste buff and launch players standing in them through the air. This buff doesn't last very long, but you can still have fun with it. The first boss is Good King Chieftain Moglin. Throughout the encounter, Moogles will spawn that share abilities to Moogles you've been traumatized by before. The highest priority Moogle to destroy will always be Captain Mogson, who will tether to Moglin and render him invulnerable. The other Moogle abilities can be essentially ignored as you burn them down. Moglin will attempt to resurrect his Moogly friends every so often in these purple AoE zones. If he succeeds, any Moogle in a purple resurrection zone will come back and you'll have to deal with each of their abilities again. Luckily, this can be completely avoided, as any damage done to a Moogle in a zone will punt them out of it. As long as they're not in the purple zones when the cast goes off, they won't resurrect and you can continue tunneling Moglin until he's taken down. The next boss is Pakka Garage. You'll notice crumbling walls on the edges of this long platform. Throughout the encounter, Pakka Garage will target a player with Quasar, a long column attack that will also destroy any wall it hits. Anytime a wall breaks, a pool of lightning will be revealed. Standing in this lightning will put an insane debuff on you, and I do not recommend it. Essentially, you want to preserve as many of these walls as possible for the duration of the fight, as they'll save you during a very specific mechanic. To do so, I would recommend standing behind the boss at all times. If you have positionals, try to position yourself in such a way that if you are targeted by Quasar, you hit as little of the wall as possible. Throughout the encounter, the boss will disappear and a proximity marker will begin flashing somewhere on the platform. Move as far away from this area as possible to avoid excess damage. When he charges down the platform, players will be knocked to whatever side they're closest to, or if they're directly in the middle, they'll be knocked up and be afflicted with a vulnerability up debuff. Ideally, players will need to position themselves to be knocked into a wall during the charge to avoid both the vulnerability stack and the lightning damage from the pool. If you have no walls left, I recommend standing in the middle and accepting the vulnerability debuff as opposed to dealing with the high damage of the lightning pools. Lastly, the boss will target a player with this purple marker that will eventually spawn a thundercloud where the player is standing at the time it disappears. This cloud will pulse huge damage and apply vulnerability up debuffs on anyone standing in it. Either have the player with the marker run away to drop the cloud away from the group, or move the boss as necessary. These mechanics will repeat until the boss is down. The last set of trash is set in possibly the most beautiful level design we've seen so far. Try not to let the view distract you from avoiding AoEs. The last boss is Felger. This entire encounter will be fought on the various platforms, moving around when necessary. A player will be targeted for Holy Breath, which will pulse high damage in their location. If this happens on your pedestal, have the group move to a new pedestal. Periodically, Felger will fly and target an area with Cauterize, a massive dive bomb attack. This will destroy the pedestal, and any player hit by this will be knocked off and killed. You won't be able to resurrect either, so make sure you jump away as soon as necessary. This acts as a bit of an enrage timer, and eventually you'll run out of platforms to escape to. Holy Sprites will spawn on random pedestals. These will eventually target players for damage, but they're very easy to kill. Jump to their platforms and destroy them before you return to the boss. Diamond Storm will spawn a number of ice orbs around the arena. The orbs will explode once they get close to a player, applying a heavy and doing high damage. Healers be ready to dispel and heal affected players. These seem to follow you around, so you can even assign someone to pop them before they become too annoying. Lastly, players will have to be on the lookout for these dragon heads. These heads are invulnerable and will move in a straight line, damaging anything in their path. Simply avoid these by moving out of their way. The fight will repeat until you prove yourself worthy. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.